Hello Nigerians, hello Africans. How are you today? My name is Dr. Henry Debem, the anchor of the G-Roll Africa mission. I want to talk about another important topic today that has to do with hope. Hope. Do we have hope? We've talked about the vision earlier. We've talked about the ideal society of our dreams. Do you believe that we can still realize this vision and see this ideal society of our dreams in our lifetime? Do we believe that that could happen? And do we have hope that it could happen? One is believing that it could happen in your lifetime. Second one is having hope. Would you wish that this happens in your lifetime? So let's look at the African Liberation Initiative survey again and see what the participants said, their opinions. So the question was if they still had hope in their home countries in restoring our dignity and values, and 83% said yes, 4% said no, and 30% wouldn't know. They're on the bench, rather on the fence. However, my interest in this survey is for those on the positive that said yes, and I think 83% was inspiring enough to say if 83% of us still believed we can remodel our society, we can restore the dignity and values of our country, of our continent, I think that's a good response. And we can see what we can do from there. Then I also went ahead to ask if they actually believed that this would happen in their lifetime. And again, 84% said yes, and 60% not too sure. Well, said no. Absolutely, they never believed it could happen in a lifetime. Then to be sure, I wanted to separate being positive from being hopeless. So I went further to say, okay, would you hope, even though you did not believe or you do not believe, do you hope to see such restoration, such a modern society in your lifetime? And an amazing 94% said yes. So that means we're able to get some converts from the no. So the no, initial no was that they never believed it could happen in a lifetime. But now they really hope that it happens in their lifetime. They actually wanted it to happen. So 94% saying yes, I think it's amazing. Yeah, it's an amazing response. And we can see what we can do with it. That's interesting. Now, this takes me to what I present as hope heroes. For you to have hope in the country, there must be one or two things that are making you positive, making you still believe that things could still get right. The situation we find ourselves in is no longer appealing, and we all know that we are falling apart, and seriously falling apart every day. But even in the midst of situations, even in the midst of all unimaginable negative news that we hear every single day and things happening around us, do we still believe that we can make this happen? And if we do, what exactly is giving you hope? What have you seen? Who have you met? What news have you heard? What events give you hope that we can still get it right? I want to share my own hope heroes today. At some point in my life, I was so hopeless, and I wouldn't blame anyone that wants to migrate to another country for a greener pasture. It's all part of survival instincts. We're all trying to survive. We understand. Just a very small proportion of bad people that never wanted any progress, that all they wanted was just theirs, anything that has to do with them. And they are going extra mile. We keep on saying something, and I keep on saying something about these guys, these people. I've learned a lot from them. They were able to conquer. They were very, very positive, even in their negative values. They are very expressive. They are fearless. Anywhere you find them. So just a small proportion of them can hold a whole neighborhood to hostage and nobody could do anything. Then what are we doing with the good guys? So, however, let me share my hope heroes. People that have given me hope that things will still work and we can still do this and get back our country and our continent. Number one hope hero. Have you heard of Imam Abdullahi Abubakar? Imam Abdullahi Abubakar and his deputy. The guy that they said that the guy put his life on the line to save over 250 Christians in Jos. Over 250 Christians that were attacked by the forest bandits at night, and those Christians had to run to his mosque for safety, for their dear lives. And they ran to him. This man came out, locked them inside the mosque, and came out and waited for the bandits. And when the bandits came, they forced him kind of to release those Christians or to gain access to the mosque, so they would kill them. And this man said no, over his dead body, that they would kill him first, that not even a drop of blood would be lost from those who were under his custody. These guys were Christians, and this guy was a Muslim, and a man for that matter. There is no affiliations with those Christians. I'm even sure they might not even come from the same tribe. Nothing. But this is the man who stood by his values. He was never intimidated by the circumstances, by his environment, by any form of influence against his values. He understood that his Islam did not teach him to kill. That was not. His Islam taught him about peace. And he was ready to stand on the value of peace, even against his own life. And you know what that means? It was a very big risk. If these kind of people still survive and still live to put their lives for people that have nothing to do with them, as in they have no link, what are we waiting for? I was so moved, and he is my number one hero. And I keep on wondering, why wouldn't the country celebrate people like this? You know one thing I said about evil, about the bad guys? They are very outspoken, they are very aggressive, and again, the media helps them a lot. We can talk about every bad thing that happens around us. We celebrate, we glorify bad things, bad news, as if they're all part of our lives. Why would we do that? And the more we celebrate them, the more we glorify them, the more this news spreads, and every other person becomes intimidated, and we feel that this is all about the whole country. This is whom we are. We don't make extra effort to celebrate good things. If Abdullahi Abubakar had turned back, collected the gun from the bandits, and shot the whole Christians, I'm telling you, even the child in the kindergarten, the news will spread all over the world, to the ends of the whole world, if he had done that. But I'm telling you, even during the African Arise conference, I asked the participants at the audience, how many of them heard about this guy? They were just about 7. I'm not up to 10% or 5% of the participants said yes. Others didn't know anything about that. So you could tell, if he had done the unimaginable, everybody in that conference will hear it. Just like coronavirus. We celebrate bad news. We celebrate evil. Even the way we share messages, even on social media. This man is my number one hero. And I wish that he would be in the billboard of every corner of this country, so that our younger generations will point at him and ask, who is this? And we'll have an opportunity to tell them stories about people who are very strong, who are very mean, and fearless about their values, and who could give in their lives for what they believe in. And I think this is what an average African needs. My number one hero. Second one, there's this primary healthcare staff in one of these clinics when I was with the US government in my public health field work. We always visit all these remote clinics. I was with the HIV program. Good thing, the American government, provides drugs, free antiretroviral drugs for HIV patients. Before a patient accesses drugs, she or he has to pay what is called user fees. User fees are small token, small money that the government collects from these patients to help in supporting the administration and the management of the facility. Besides the drugs definitely are free. So you will have some token to pay, and that should be about less than $1. Yeah, about 200, in some cases 150. So I got in this facility and I discovered that most of these patients were so poor that they could not afford to pay for user fee, so they could access drugs that runs in thousands and hundreds of thousands of naira in a year. Very expensive. Just access them free. So they didn't have up to 100 to access these drugs. And what was the consequences? They will go back home without accessing the drugs. But one thing very amazing about these primary healthcare staff that I met was that they felt so bad that their own patients could not access these drugs and they would just go home. 200, 150, 300 in some cases. And they pay from their pocket. And they told me that. I was so amazed. I was like, why? Why would you do that? I asked how much they were earning. Their monthly earning was around 15,000 to 20,000 naira. That's what they earn. And they still pay for some of these patients. And I was asking them, why? One of them, in a very touching way, said, what will I do? They are my people. They are my community people. I have to help them. I don't want them to die. Since the drugs are free, what do we do? I said, really? That kind of heart, that kind of values, against the financial needs and the financial demands, against what we all were looking for. More money, more money, more money. The little that they had, they could use it to pay for these patients so that they could access drugs, because they don't want them to die. They were their people, their community people. And to an extent, they knew most of these patients, personal, as in one-on-one, because they all lived in the same community and they all came from the same community. That was amazing. These people gave me hope. They challenged me. If they could do this with the little, if they could put on their lives and their little resources to save lives in their own country, that's amazing. I think there's something that we can do, and there's something I could do. They are all part of my strong inspirations. We have these mindsets in our country, particularly in Nigeria, that most of our civil servants, they are all corrupt. Yes, I understand. Even as little as the clerk in the office, they look for how to survive by all means. But I want to make one point. All these people you see, wherever you see them, whatever they do to survive, they are all victims of the same circumstances. They are all victims. It's not selective. Nobody is special. As long as you see them, and once you run into this kind of mode, this kind of desperate survival instinct, anything happens, anything goes. We are all desperate to survive. And as we are working and making the same kind of mistakes, we are churning out some negative values that are defining our society. And even the younger ones will get into it and join the chorus. But some people were exceptional, and I want to mention this immigration officer.